If you read Isaiah chapter 48, verse 14, God throws you on the bit of affliction to save the soul. Sometimes, the sicknesses are permitted to save the soul. If you are not, let's say, for example, put a break on your walk, like a comma. If you continue down the road, you will eventually even lose your salvation and you will end up in hell. So God, out of His great love and mercy, permits you to be put on the bit of affliction. So if you read 1 Corinthians chapter 5, verses 3 to 5, you will read how the Apostle Paul was taken in the Spirit to the Corinthian church, and he saw the believers sinning in secret, and he committed them into the hands of Satan for the destruction of their flesh, so that their soul can live, so their soul can be saved. So which means, once a person is turned over into the hands of Satan for the destruction of the flesh, then Satan has all the rights to inflict you with all kinds of diseases and infirmity and afflictions, just like you read in Job chapter 1. It was Satan who put the sickness and the boils on Job. God did not. So, when your flesh is turned over into the hands of the devil for destruction, no medicines can heal you. No, because you have been judged. Your pain will never be relieved. It will never be elevated. You will be screaming and crying in pain all the days of your life, and no medicines will ever work on you. Not even prayer. That is the worst part. Because 1 John chapter 5, verses 15 to 17 says, there are some sins unto death, and we cannot pray for that. There have been several circumstances where the Lord has prevented me for praying for a person's sickness. He said, don't pray for their sickness. Pray that their soul, the sins of their soul will be forgiven them, so that they will be saved. But they have been turned over for the devil to be destroyed. The most heartbreaking experience I ever had so far was I was called to pray for a 24-year-old, young, handsome-looking Nepali boy in Sikkim. This boy was dying of AIDS, and he didn't know that. He didn't know that. His parents knew. They didn't tell him. The doctors have just numbered his days. And when I was asked to pray for this boy, the mother pleaded with me, please don't ever tell my son that he has AIDS. And not just beginning stage, terminally ill. And when I went to the hospital bed, I looked at this boy, handsome looking young man. Young boy, 24 years old, full of life, vitality, a great future ahead of him. And I was so heartbroken when I saw this young man. And I asked the Lord, why? Why did this come upon him? And the Lord showed me his whole life. He was a great womanizer. From the age of 16, he started womanizing and raping in the form of sexual fantasies all the girls in his college. Every girl that he sees on the street will just pick them up like this and sleep with them and then throw them away. That is his pastime. And the Lord said, this is the judgment that has been pronounced over him. These boys are from a Christian family. The flesh has been turned over into the hands of the devil for destruction. Why does God do that? If you read Isaiah chapter 48, verse 14, God throws you on the bit of affliction to save the soul.